irritated that I didn't think about that. I can't get onto my van safely. Welcome to day one of the van build. This is not a how-to, this is how I do. I'm going to be installing my Maxxair fan. It's going to be the first time I'm up on the roof today. So I'm going to be cutting holes into my van before I've even made my first payment on it, which I'm very comfortable with now. When I was first researching stuff, I was kind of nervous. It is 5:30 in the morning. I like to be an early bird and wake up early, but also I'm in Phoenix and it still can get into the 90s. So I had everything prepared. I'm ready to cut these holes in my van. Something I did not account for, and this is of course going to be one of my first of many mistakes, is the ladder. I was just going to use my mom's ladder. She has one that she uses in her house. We've used it to climb up to her very tall ceilings. Well, when I put it up next to the van, I never looked at the size of the ladder. I just knew it was taller than me and got me to high places. This is the van build that will not start. I got my coffee. There have been a few things happening. I thought that a week ago I would have put my fan in, and it turns out that I picked up my windows instead on Friday when I thought I'd get started. I had to wait the weekend because it was going to rain, was forecasted. The ladder that I was going to borrow was not tall enough, and thankfully it is not going to rain. So the plan is to do the fan. To the van build that doesn't want to start, cheers, but I'm gonna get it done. Because this frame I have is a 14 by 14 internally, and that's the size I need to cut out for the fan. And then I'm just gonna double check center here. So that should be center. It doesn't look very center though. Here goes nothing. I'm gonna just drill a pilot hole and see where this lies. There's the first cut. Wrong way. No going back now. I'm drilling some pilot holes, and then I use a bunch of painter's tape just to help protect the paint that's going to be on the outside of the fan. And a couple practices with the jigsaw. Oh my god, that cuts like fucking butter. Why is it so hard? What's the magic? Once I had holes large enough for the jigsaw to fit in, that was the easiest part. Adding tape as I went to secure the vibrations. What I failed to capture was I also use a metal file to smooth down the edges after cutting with the jigsaw. Then I'm roughing it up with a Scotch-Brite pad and cleaning with alcohol for the flange to adhere to. To protect the newly cut metal, I'm using some Rust-Oleum, just a spray paint, spraying it into the package of that drill bit, and a wool dauber just to protect the edges from getting rust down the line. I also failed to capture the adhesive, so this is the adapter flange that I got to make the roof flat to put the Maxxair Fan on. It's a very sticky polyurethane, like a very deep black glue. Best to wear latex gloves with this and bring some mineral spirits to clean up anything you might miss. I was so anxious to finally get this project going. It was the first thing that felt like I was really building a van, and I could have done some things to prepare ahead of time, and I wish I had. One of those things would be use a big black garbage bag, because then it'll just fit open mouth. I ended up just taking a normal white garbage bag and taping it flat against the ceiling, so that worked okay. I should have reread all of the instructions. I rewatched videos and such, and I knew what I was expecting as far as the fan install, but it would have been nice if I had been able to reread the instructions, particularly for the adapter piece that I was putting on for the fan. So I just wish I had done more pre-work. All in all, it worked out nicely. I'm impressed with how well I did cutting the hole. I'm like, cutting metal's kind of like no big deal. Feels pretty good, actually. It's cool to have a skylight in my van right now. That's what I'm looking out at. Okay, so I'm gonna do some preventative maintenance before I even install the Maxxair Fan. So while I'm waiting for my my adapter, while I'm waiting for that to cure, I have like, I don't know, 6 more hours left or something that I was gonna give it. So this Maxxair Fan is brand new. There's nothing wrong with it, as far as I know. I'm gonna take this apart and I'm going to treat this. What I'm going to do, there are 4 screws. So I'm gonna take these screws out and expose the control panel. There's also a screw inside the knob I need to take out. And then there are 2 connections. These are zip tied together, so these are just tucked in here. I just pop that out there. And there's some more screws in here that I need to take out as well. So I undid the screws, I'm taking the panel off, and I'm lifting this apart from the, ouch, sharp. Okay, so I got the control board apart from its main piece here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to protect that part I just pulled apart, as well as any of the sensors here, just with some painter's tape. Okay, so I'm going to go spray this with like a good few coats of this, what's it called, conformal coating. So it will protect this from moisture, basically from my breathing in a van. So I'm also going to take this E6000 and I'm going to put it in here where that connector was. I'm going to put it around here to protect that from condensation as well. There's also in here, this is a little bubble. I might poke a hole in that just so any condensation can drop down through there. I am now going to make my Maxxair Fan frame. It's called a 2x2, but really it's like 1.5 by 1.5, and it's 36 inches long, and they're pre-cut. It's pine, sold in Home Depot. So what I'm doing is taking, let's see, can you see that? So I'm taking this piece, this is the Maxxair Fan piece that the fan will fit in top of up here, but to measure it, I'm gonna put this piece of wood here, and I already marked this one. So I'm going to make 2 pieces, cut here, and then 2 pieces to fill that gap. I need to change the blade in my jigsaw, but I need to make sure I take the battery out first. So if you don't know how to take a blade out of a jigsaw, this is an important thing to know if you want to build a van on your own. First, take out your battery or unplug it if it's plugged in. There we go. I have this little latch on the side, so I'm just gonna ping. This opens up, and then I'm gonna remove my metal blade, and she has already seen quite a bit of work today, and I'm going to replace that with, I have this just says a clean cut wood cutting blade. It came with a series of blades I ordered. So I open my side bit here, and there, if you can see, let me show that to the camera, there's a little guide here, and this is called a T-shank, so it's just gonna fit up into here, and there's a little keyhole Yeah, and then it kind of clicks. See how it's in between these two little wheels? And now that this is in, this blade is not going to come out, and you want the blade facing out, away from those little wheels. Okay, look at this. First of all, the cut actually came out not bad off a garbage can and a jigsaw. And look at this. Look how well it fits. Pop! Oh my gosh. And a pop! I'm so freaking excited that worked. I use each cut piece of wood. The first one that works, I use it as a template for the next one. So I'm just going to take this cut piece, and to make it easy on my cut, because I found if you cut a little bit on each side, then you don't have that huge fray that I got with my first piece. So what a fun learning opportunity. I only have 2 easy clamps, so I'm gonna just drill a hole straight through the middle of each one. That's the plan here. And there you have it. I have made a frame from a Maxxair Fan. Much like my namesake, it is very imperfect, as is this adventure. I mean, look at that corner. That's horrible. Not perfect. But look, it's a frame. It's something extra for the nails to grab into. It's going to serve its purpose. But look at that countersink. Like, I'm very proud. So what I used is this kind of drill bit that gets it started. If you can see, it's got a finer tip and then it'll go deeper. I'm sure I used the wrong size. I couldn't figure out Craig jig. This is my first cut piece. It looks horrendous, but I'm freaking proud of it. So yeah, that's all mine. I'm really proud of it, of all of its imperfections. So once this thing cures on the roof, I will have a Maxxair Fan installed today. Well, that high was short-lived, because when I went out to finish my Maxxair Fan install, there was a storm brewing to the east. I hustled my buns to get it installed. Thankfully, I'd had some experience installing a Maxxair Fan on my old travel trailer, so this part was familiar to me. I should have pre-drilled the holes. I didn't. That proved to be a big pain in the patoots. And then every screw I put in actually pulled the adapter flange up off of the van. It made it worse. Every single thing I did, I kept pre-drilling, I kept working through. It was a disaster. Ultimately, I had to throw in the towel and cover it as fast as I could with a bunch of garbage bags and try another day. This morning, I'm feeling really dejected. I had such a good plan yesterday for the fan install, and there was an unexpected storm that came through, and my adapter piece didn't end up adhering because I had the wrong size screw, because I decided to use a wood frame. So I have a big giant hole in my van while it rained last night. Of course I sealed it up as best I could, but I just feel defeated. So I have to get to it. I mean, I have to do something with it. So that's a nice thing about having a hole in your van, is you can't just leave it and just say, I give up. So, and I also have coffee, so there's good things in life. I'm almost done with the fan install, and I'm out of breath because I'm so hot. The fan is taking way more out of me than I expected it to. I really thought that this would be a lot easier than it is, especially since I have a little bit of experience swapping a Maxxair Fan out for a just plain vent before, so I thought cutting the hole would be the hardest part. It says it's 82 degrees outside, which I guess is not too bad. But on the top of a metal box with the sun reflecting right back off of it onto your face, I had towels under my legs so they wouldn't be too hot. It was so hot that I couldn't record pretty much any of it. I got the beginning before my GoPro and my cell phone overheated, and holy sweat sausage. Like, so I got the Dicor on, which is the self-leveling lap sealant. I got that everywhere. I'm hoping that levels. I went through the whole tube. At this point, it's done. I hope this works. I really do. I'm so tired and hot I could cry, but it's like more worth laughing. So I'm gonna drink water now. So I wanna I'm gonna test the fan out. And so I bought this thing because it was the fastest thing I could get on Amazon. And it's a 12-volt plug and it has an adapter. This one actually had two because it's the one I could get the fastest. But I cut this one off, and now I am stripping my wires to plug in these adapters, and they actually came with the Maxxair Fan. I might need to switch out the adapter, I don't know, but this is gonna just be my temporary setup. So up here is where it's gonna strip the wire, and then down here I can crimp that connector to it, and that's gonna be what I connect the Maxxair Fan to. So I've already done one wire, and now I'm gonna do the other. So this has a little stopper on it, and you can adjust this as you need. There's little markings right in here that says like how far. So I'm just gonna do it to 1/2 inch. I mean, you could just place the wire in there and kind of eyeball it too, but I just got these and that's what I'm doing. Also, if you wanna cut your wire, you can put your wire right here and cut it. I'm gonna put this here, and then it's gonna come down, and I'm just pushing it together, and it slices that off. And now I have exposed wire. I'm gonna put this in here. And don't worry everyone, I'm 100% sure I'm doing it wrong. So I wanna do, this is 16 gauge wire. So here, I'm gonna crimp the other one. Just hooking these to each other. Here's the moment of truth, and I might cry. Oh my God, I think it's working. Oh my God, it's working. It's working, it's working. It's working. Oh my God, I'm so excited. This is the first thing I have working in my van. I could freaking cry. This was such an ordeal. Oh my God. Finally, I don't think you can see me, but finally I have a success. I have a success. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I'm going to freaking cry. This one's a win. Finally. How many days later?